Hi, welcome back to the episode of Cooking with a Gist. Last show we had jollof rice cooked here and plantains. Today we're going to be cooking egusi soup. Egusi soup is usually cooked with any kinds of leafy vegetables such as spinach and other variation of leafy vegetables. Egusi is traditional African vegetable soup, usually made in Nigeria, I believe. You cook egusi, and I'm about to get into what that means. You cook it with spinach or any salty type of vegetable available, and bam, you get your vegetable soup ready. With egusi soup, you can enjoy nearly all traditional African bowl-like food, such as eba, amala, semo, and pounded yam. If you're foreign to all these names that I mentioned, then you need to talk to an African. All right, so I'm trying to blend this Maggi seasoning. On a good day, I should be able to just sprinkle it and it will go straight into my cooking pot. But for now, this is my strategy. All right, so egusi soup. Where do we start from? Let's light up our stove and get that heat warmed up. And then, once this cooking pot dry out, I'm gonna go ahead and pour my palm oil. This is palm oil. You can pick this up in African market store. There are great African market stores around. There's one on 3rd Avenue. Anyway, so egusi soup. Our cooking pot is warming up. Once it's warmed up, I'll pour palm oil and I will let this palm oil fry. In the meantime, I need to prepare my egusi. This is egusi. Egusi is another word for egusi is melon. So let's pause a little bit and talk about what that is. You know honeydew melon? Yeah. The seeds inside honeydew is these seeds are extracted, washed, cleaned, and dried. And the seeds, they're peeled off, and you extract the seeds, and you blend them, and you get egusi. Now, I don't think anyone is interested in doing that with melons around here. So, because I'm very adventurous and I love to experiment, if I do not have egusi anywhere available in the United States, I've thought about experimenting with sunflower seeds or any available seeds for that matter. But in this case, this is egusi. It can be picked up in African market store. So where do we start? You pour your egusi in a little bowl. It's usually dry like this. It's blended. And then what you need on it is hot water to mix it up. So I'm going to pour my hot water just a little bit. I don't want it to be watery. I want it to give me that puree feel. So I'm going to mix it up. I'm mixing it up, making sure all the eating balls are captured with my spoons and melted with the hot water. So once it's done, this is what it should look like. Cool. The pot is dry and we're ready for palm oil. If your palm oil is not, because palm oil tend to slip a little bit. So if your palm oil were to slip and not this, if your palm oil were to slip, you put it in hot water and you run it, and then it should wake up. For now, this is a week, so we're just gonna go ahead and pour it in the cooking pot, just a little bit, depending on how much oil you're comfortable consuming. Because I've done this several times, I can, for the most part, gauge the content, the amount of oil that I need. In your case, it will be hard to measure how much you should use because, again, it depends on how much melon or vegetable you're using. So, but in any case, play with it, try it, and see what it looks like. So once the oil is frying, I'm going to prepare my onions. Again, my style, with heavy cooking, I love to have my flavor. I love to get my flavor going. Flavor is the beginning of everything for me. So, and how do I get that? I get that by little chopped up onions, meat with oil. It's getting fried. So I'm beginning to get the chemistry of whatever is coming out of that oil, frying with my onion, and the result is nice flavor. So spice girl I am, so I'm gonna begin to add my spice. Again, there are no rules as into what spice you had. When we cook the type of soup that you ought to be very careful in adding one type of spice or another, I will tell you, this and the shows that we've had, you can liberally apply any spice that you prefer. So I'm gonna get my spice going. Everything in moderation, just a little bit. Let it sizzle for me. And I need some turmeric. All right, things are looking good. What I need to do now is to start dishing my melon into the oil. You're getting that sizzling effect. You can pour everything in. You have some leftover that you can't possibly get rid of unless you add some water, so I'm going to add some water. And you just collect all the remaining melons. Not to say you have to, but I don't want to waste a thing. So just rinse it in. And this is the time that I stir. So my melon or egusi is now in the oil, and I'm stirring them together. I can see that I need more water, so I'm going to add more water because even though I want my melon to go into the oil and start getting fried, I do not want it to fry dry. I want it to fry cook versus fry dry. So I'm going to stir more. Add more water until I'm comfortable with the texture. All right. So what I like to do now is begin to add all my seasoning. Remember the first set of seasoning that I added was to get the flavor going. Now I'm going to season it to taste. Here's my Maggi. Remember this? You can pick it up in the African market store. There are variations of them. There is none. I think you can pick those up in pretty much any grocery store. But the one I'm currently using will be picked up in African market store. So that's Maggi right there. I love this, guys, because it's super healthy. Turmeric, I can't go wrong with it. So I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle it. This is curry, by the way. Jamaican curry. I love my Jamaican curry. Yeah, man. And that's it. I'm going to stir all these things together. And here's the part that I will need to add my salt. Again, I'm adding my salt with the belief that at some point I'm going to go ahead and add vegetables. And I want to prepare this egusi for vegetable taste. So it should when I taste it, it should be sharp a little. And once the vegetable comes in, it normalizes it. Nice. I'm already getting the nice smell, the flavor of egusi. If I were to be cooking this next to my neighbor should be like, what is going on there? All right. So the next step is to pour in your blended pepper. Your blended pepper can comprise of red pepper, tomatoes, onions. If you are into hot pepper, you can add you can blend some Jamaican pepper into it, or any hot pepper, for that matter. Just be careful if you're feeding children with it, because children are not doing so good with spicy hot pepper. All right, so this is my blended pepper. I'm going to go ahead and pour them in. And I'm going to stir. So now I'm ready to taste. I want to taste to make sure that the amount of seasoning and salt that I added did the job. This is how we taste in Africa, by the way. I know some people taste like this. You do that in Africa, your mama will spank you. You can just, the same spoon you dip in the food, you can dip it in your mouth. It goes into your hand, and you taste. Hoping that your hands are clean. All right. So depending on the kind of texture that you want for this egusi soup, you might want to examine if you have enough water or if you need to add more water. It's all about taste and preference. Some people do prefer the egusi soup to be, to be not so dry, but to they want to be able to access the vegetable they want to be able to pick it up with the bowls of eba, any other food that they're eating the egusi with. But some people do like it a little, moist. So again, it's all a matter of preference. In this case, I kind of like the texture that I'm getting, and I do not have any need to want to add water, with the understanding that my vegetable, the spinach that I'm going to add into this to complete my egusi soup, would have some water that already comes with it. So I'm going to go ahead and get that spinach. This is my spinach vegetables. Again, you can pick this up in African market store. They are right on Third Avenue. Gonna go ahead and open it, drain out some water. Ideally, I'm gonna pour everything in here, and then the water content that I do not want, hopefully will drain off. Good. And usually when you pick up the spinach from African market store, they are expected to be frozen. So if you need them instantly, you might have to start working with microwave to defrost. My suggestion is if you need them in the night, get them in the morning and just put them on somewhere in a bowl on the table. Let them naturally defrost. So you eliminate the need to use microwave. And so I believe that this vegetable is getting drained at this point. I'm going to set it aside. I have some nice addition to this egusi soup, and this is what we do in Africa. We can add as much stuff to enrich your egusi soup as much stuff as you have available. In this case, I have a lot, thanks to our sponsors, the African market, the Halal Meat Market on Third Avenue. They sponsor her with all these things. It is important to teach others about African food. In fact, not necessarily only about African food. I am committed to teaching others about African ways. It's especially these days when the mainstream media does less in picturing the right image for Africans. I feel a sense of duty, if you will, to bring it out, to join the people. Some people are already doing it, and just join the chorus to, bringing out the value and the identity of Africans and the beliefs and the ways of life of Africans, and how a lot of things are evolving for good. I feel actually very obligated to being a part of this conversation. The dry fish, when these fish are caught, instead of them getting frozen, they're dried and they're stocked for a lot of time. I think some people stock their fish for years. Like I can't even tell you how many years some fish are stocked for. Just as you would stock cheese for many years, and people will taste it, they'll be like, they will be evaluating how sour it tastes because of how many years it's been stocked. Same thing goes for wine. That's kind of like the same idea with stock fish. But I don't know if the longer you stock a fish, the tastier it gets. I do know, though, that by stocking it, you preserve it. And again, perhaps that's one of the reasons why they're able to make their way all the way from Africa or any other country where they're shipped down to, and still very edible and nutritious as they are right now. So that's stockfish I've just added, and I'm just gonna, give it a little stir to get a egusi mix up properly with the stockfish. I also have one more nice thing going on. A lot of good stuff are going into this egusi. Guess what's going on? Now I'm going to add little crayfish. This is my crayfish. Again, this one in particular can only be found at that same African store that I was talking to you about. I'm going to rinse it a little bit in warm water. I'm rinsing my crayfish. I'm just going to douse them in there Now, everything is looking good. All the stockfish, crayfish, all of them are releasing their good, juicy nutrition into the egusi soup. And I can't wait to hit this things. Just like I said, if you're making this egusi soup, it's your show. You can run it the way you want. You can put, if you have stockfish, use it. If you don't, it's okay. I also have mushroom. If you're not allergic to mushroom, you can just dice in a little bit of it in here. If it's healthy, why not, right? Especially for my vegan people, if all you do is veggie, then you perhaps won't need all this stockfish. Mushroom would just be a good idea. And not only will it give you a release and all the juicy nutrition, it can also function as, meat inside your veggie, inside your egusi soup. So there's everything in this for everyone. So I'm cutting up my mushroom. Just have a little for it. I'm going to go ahead and dice them in there. Yes, our egusi soup is getting pretty filled up, right? Guess what? We're not done. There is one vital ingredient that must go into egusi soup, at least per Africa. And that thing is called tamarind. In my language, we call it iru. But I've searched and searched for iru around here. Even when I find one, it's always hard to get a fresh one that I really like. So this tamarind soup mix will just do the job. It's the closest I can get to iru. So I'm gonna get a little bit of it. This is giving me flavor. The African version that I would have preferred actually maintains the seed, keeps the seed of this plant intact. And it's, apart from the flavor, just biting that. I remember when I was younger, I used to go to my mom's kitchen and just get a little bit of this, just eat. Just eat, enjoy it. Even though I shouldn't. All right. So our egusi soup is getting cooked. Now that I've added so much nice stuff, I feel like I need more water. Because by the time my vegetable goes in, I probably have a ball. All right, so this is the part that I just cover it up and let it be. I want the chemistry to start happening between everything that I've added and the egusi. That's it. So I can leave it for maybe about 3 to 4 minutes. I will take a look and check. Again, I do not want anything to start getting burny. I just want a mix-up, a really deep cooking of all these ingredients. And after that, I'll be ready to actually add this. You want to make sure that this is the last ingredient you add, not only because it's spinach, but because, vegetables, if you overcook vegetables, you lose the nutritional values of vegetables, and that's what's the point of eating them if everything you need from them are already gone while cooking. So, per my preference, I like to add vegetables last. When I'm about almost 5 to 10 minutes ready to finishing egusi soup is when I actually add the spinach. So for now, we're letting all these key ingredients that need to boil up, we're letting them boil up. In the meantime, while they're boiling up, I'm going to take a few minutes to start cleaning up these areas because you'll be surprised, our egusi soup is almost done. So it's been about 5 to 8 minutes that this vegetable egusi is cooking. So I'm gonna stir it up. And I believe it's ready for spinach vegetable now. Throw it in. Get a few more. Let's see. So here, it's also important to emphasize that depending on how much vegetables you want in your egusi, like some people, everything is still egusi soup. Some people want egusi to be more pronounced in the soup versus vegetable to be more pronounced. So if you want more vegetables, this is the time you put more. If you want more egusi to be emphasized in the soup, you put less vegetables, less spinach rather. So I'm stirring. I want to make sure that that spinach is all mixed up. Remember, there are so many many ingredients, good ingredients in here that have been added. So my goal is to make sure that every bite, every fork pick of this soup has at least spinach along with it. It's important to stir well, capturing all your corners, because egusi tend to hide at those corners, and you want your soup to be well mixed. This egusi is looking good. If you master the art and the art of cooking egusi, you can steal anyone. I don't want to say you can steal any man, but that would mean that I'm being biased to only to women. But actually, in my language, there is a proverb that says, "Your way to the throat is your way to heavens." So if you know how to cater to people's throats, and that might just be your express ticket to get them. Not literally, but I'm being silly. The point is, if you know how to cook well, especially this traditional egusi soup, you can win some friends. So this is egusi soup for you. Go cooking. If you need all the recipes that I put in this soup right here, reach out to me at immigrantsgist@gmail.com. We're about to start running up this cooking because egusi soup it's getting ready, and in a few moments we're going to be serving it. And I just wanted to take a moment to thank our sponsors, starting with CSI for letting us use this space, this beautiful kitchen. Again, CSI is Center for Social Innovation, a co-working space for social innovators and entrepreneurs like me, who are just doing all that they have to do to to see the change that they want to see in the world. Also wanted to take a moment to thank C-Town Pachester Adesaku. Thank you for your sponsorship. Also want to thank the New Bronx Halal Meat Market right on 3rd Avenue. That's the African market that, gave us some backing around this show. So thank you. Also want to thank the Young Boss Media Africa. They are the producers of this show. Thank you for your work. And everything is looking good. This vegetable is ready. We can now go ahead and serve. I think it actually came out the way I wanted. I was really looking forward to be able to put a lot of ingredients into it, to be able to show people that it is possible to dice in this and dice in that, and still, get this super nutritious food. As long as you have the egusi in it, which is the main ingredient, the main staple, that will give you the flavor, the taste, and close to the culture, right? As long as you have the egusi in it. Every other ingredient like starfish, crayfish, mushrooms, and every other thing. Those are just like, some things you can play with. What I really was looking forward to is to have those varieties in this one-time cooking, and I'm glad that I was able to achieve that. So, egusi soup is done. Now, the tasting part. Let's see what we got. Softly salty and perfect. Excellent. Great. So this is the end of this cooking show. Thank you for watching Cooking with the Gist. I wanted to take a moment to thank CSI for letting us into their kitchen and to have this great show. I wanted to take a moment to thank our sponsors, Seatown at Parchester by the Circle. Thank you for your support. New Bronze Halal Meat Market, the one and only African market store on 3rd Avenue. Thank you for your support. And I wanted to take a moment to thank the Young Boss Media Africa. Thank you for your partnership in producing this show. And to our viewers, thank you for watching again. I will see you on the next episode of The Gist. My name is Victoria Olani Oyanira. Thanks for watching.